silent down there until she has a good shot at getting back to us.
Sir? Isabel, this is Captain Cutter.
I know who you are. James Cutter. Captain of the Spirit of Fire. You're supposed to be lost with all hands.
Not so lost, it seems. What happened down there? I need to know what we're up against. Isabel? Isabel, report.
Sir. 5 months ago, the portal from the Ark to Earth shut down without warning. A month later, he arrived.
He?
The Brute. Their leader. His name is Atriox. During the war, the Covenant used his clan as expendable muscle. Told them dying in battle would speed their holy journey. 40 at a time, they carelessly sent them in. 40 to break the front lines. 40 to die for beliefs not their own. None ever returned. Until he did. And so battle by battle, war by war, 39 brothers at a time, Atriox was born. With every victory, his legend and his hatred of the Covenant grew. Eventually, both were impossible to conceal. And they tried to banish him. And everything we know about the Covenant's 1,000-year history. Atriox was the first to defy the Covenant and survive. And his defiance inspired others. Atriox and his Banished raided Covenant resources, cutting a swath across the galaxy, growing in strength with each attack, gathering killers and mercenaries to his side. The Covenant had 2 targets in those years, humanity and Atriox. They almost got us, but Atriox, they never came close. The whole damn Covenant couldn't contain him at the height of their power. That's what you're up against. And all you've got is one old ship and half a crew to staff her? We need to run as far and as fast as we can.
We are just one ship. And an old one at that. But here we are. 30 years past what anyone could ask of us. Our war is gone. The lives we had are gone. The worlds we knew have moved on. And now, all that we may have left are those standing beside us. And the duty that defines us. Battle after battle, fighting side by side. Together. Where you see half a crew, Isabel, I see family. courage. And 1,000 heroes who swore to fight their way through hell before they'd ever turn their backs and run. And where you see one old ship, I see home. And that is always worth fighting for. If we don't stop Atriox now, we leave the galaxy at the mercy of a monster. So no, Isabel, we won't be running anywhere today.
Sir, yes, sir.
Captain, I appreciate a good rousing speech as much as the next AI, but Atriox has had months to set up his forces on the Ark. Even if we could find him, attacking him head-on would be suicide.
That's why we have to fight smart by hitting Atriox's chain of command first. Isabel, you know the Banished and their operations here. Where do we start?
Decimus. He's one of Atriox's chief lieutenants and the one who led the attack on my outpost. He oversees a Banished salvage operation near the outpost.
We need to hit the Banished with a surprise attack to put them on their back foot. Then move south and establish an HQ. Once we have a base, we can begin our attack on Decimus.
Captain, Isabel said the portal her outpost was using to contact Earth closed without warning. Once we start this fight, we have no way of calling for help if we need it.
That's what you'll be working on, Professor. I need you to find us a way to get word back home. In the meantime, it's up to us to hold the line here. Let's show them what the Spirit of Fire can do. Listen up, team. The Banished are dug in deep and dead set on controlling this installation, and we cannot allow that to happen. Strike one. Your job is to establish a forward base. Expect resistance.
Hello everybody and welcome to the second mission in my Halo Wars 2 Legendary Walkthrough Guide. This mission is pretty simple. We're just going to be dealing with a little bit of enemies between us and a base that we need to set up. Once we set up that base, we're going to be taking the fight to the Banished by eliminating some of Decimus's bases, and then once we eliminate his final base, we'll be dealing with Decimus himself. But first things first, we need to clear some Banished between us and that base. In this first engagement, you only have 2 Marines as well as Spartan Jerome, so you want to have Spartan Jerome up front taking the drawing the fire. He is your tank for this mission. You want to make sure he is the one taking all the punishment, not your Marines or your Hellbringers when we deal with them later. And if you see any of your Marines dealing with a little bit too much heat, just like that one right there, you're going to do what we call microing. Microing is taking small groups of units and doing little things that, like little actions that basically either A, keep them alive, or B, has a little bit more impact on a fight. So for an example, later on when we have the frag grenade ability, that is an example of microing. Or what I just did with Jerome there, which is just him by himself going to the garrison while the rest of my units are doing something else. That is another thing called microing. Now, utilizing our Marines and our Hellbringers, we're going to wait for Spartan Jerome here to take out that Grunt Squad. And then once he takes out that Grunt Squad, we're going to move all of our units up to take the power node over here. So that is the main objective, to be able to activate the light bridge. You do not need to kill all the Banished here. You could just bypass them all and just basically go across and get to that Banished base a little bit faster, especially if you're trying to hit par time. Now we're going to take our most full health Marine, or the healthiest Marine group that we have, and then what we're going to do is use them to draw the fire from the garrison. If they end up getting hit, they will still have plenty of health, and that basically it won't take them long, so your Marines should be fine. But as you saw there, if you keep your Marines where I had them, you're not going to deal with pretty much any fire from that Grunt Squad and that garrison. Now we're going to grab all of our units and head across the light bridge. But I didn't want to leave the Grunt Squad here. I kind of wanted to make sure that there was no way that some Grunt Squad will be able to come up from behind once we get to that base. So just wanted to make sure that we mop up that Grunt Squad. And then with all the rest of our forces here, we're going to move them all up. This Marine here, I was considering keeping him back, but I want to just like make it easier. We don't have our restoration drones yet, so if you played Halo Wars 1, restoration drones are basically just heal and repair. So we're going to be using that quite a bit. But notice how when I noticed that Marine group getting focus fired on, I just like I did right there, I hit that just that one squad, and then I moved it back. So same thing with these Hellbringers, and sometimes you will have to get your like move your units out of the way and do a little bit more complex micro movements. But in most other cases, it's completely fine. Just they'll be able to just back off. Now with Spartan Jerome here, one second, we're going to be utilizing our Marines over here and grab those supplies. But with Spartan Jerome here, you're going to put him inside of that garrison. You're going to go for that middle garrison because that is where you're going to be able to hit all those enemies all at one time. Now, he's going to have plenty of health. The Kodiaks will be helping you out, taking out those augmented extractors, as well as take out any of those extra, those other grunt squads. So we're going to be keeping our mostly healthy Marines and Hellbringers. We're going to move them up as well, and we're going to have them fight, but we only want them to have to fight one garrison squad. So I'm just going to let Spartan Jerome as well as the other Kodiaks just do most of the damage here. Now I'm going to help synchronize fire on that with those Kodiaks, take out these other enemies here. Notice how those Kodiaks are doing a lot of good damage on these grunt squads, so it is helping us out quite a bit. Trying to make sure that these guys over here are fine. There we go. We're going to get everybody out of their garrison, and then we're pretty much almost set to move up. But first things first, we just got some more warthogs as well, but we are about to get restoration drones. So all of our forces pretty much got hurt. So we want to make sure that we move up with mostly healthy units. So I'm going to move Jerome up since he is pretty much full health. Don't have to worry about him, but the rest of these units are going to be getting healed before we move up. So Jerome here is just going to move on past. Going to just kind of bypass these enemies. There we go. We have all these enemies. All of our friendlies now, all of our other units are pretty good in terms of health, so we don't have to worry about them. And then just keep clearing out some more of these enemies here. There's plenty of supplies. We're going to move Jerome up here. And then these other units that we have, we're going to just have them gather these supplies. And then they're also going to destroy those the supply silos. So while we have them do that, Jerome is going to be sitting in the garrison. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get into the garrison, but the Kodiaks here are very much being helpful and taking out a lot of these grunt squads. So normally I would have my guys just taking out the banished supply silo, but the Kodiaks made it really easy for Jerome to basically take out these grunt squads. So kind of might as well like focus fire, utilize all the units that we have, and then move up, and then finally be able to take out that banished base up here, so we can finally get more. That way we can have a base and start actually bringing some damage of our own. Now, immediately once you get people into these garrisons, you want to make sure that you get your Marines, your Spartan Jerome as well, some Hellbringers as well into these garrisons. Anybody else that is outside of the garrison, they need to be doing something else. You could have your Warthogs helping you out, clearing out the banished base, or you can utilize and make sure that your friendlies stay safe by taking out little like sub objectives around, like for an example these banished supply silos. Or you could have them again just stay on one side, or keep them back if you want, like whatever you want to do. But I was a little bit more aggressive with mine. I didn't want to have to deal with like basically I didn't want to have to deal with a ton of these. I wanted to get that base up and running basically as fast as possible, so I was a little bit more aggressive. Now, keeping an eye on those Hellbringers, they are getting punished quite a bit, utilizing a little bit of micro using our Warthog ram. Now I see that Hellbringer squad getting slammed here, so I'm going to be microing them back a little. Got another dropship coming in though. In a few moments though, we will be getting bailed out by some Hornets, which are going to be very, very helpful. Here they go, pretty much on cue, microing those Hellbringers back again. Gonna try to save those Hellbringers. We're gonna be microing them even more. See that Grunt Squad really wants those Hellbringers. So I said, you know what, I'll just give them to you. And then that Grunt Squad basically escaped with, like, I could have probably just used one of those Warthogs to just run them down, and it would have been I would have been able to keep those Hellbringers alive, but it is whatever. So see these Hellbringers, I microed them back because they were getting hit. Same with these Marines. I'm just going to throw a nice restoration drone down on them right now. Now, heal and repair would stop if they were taking damage healing them, but with restoration drones, even if they are still taking damage or in a firefight, combat does not change the fact that those units get healed. So whenever you have a chance, utilize restoration drones to make sure that your units are full heal. So that is very, very important, and a very big difference between heal and repair in Halo Wars 1 to Halo Wars 2. So it's actually a nice change. I like that a lot. So we're going to be building at Firebase now. There is the second Phoenix log right here, and then we're going to be getting these supplies before while we wait for this Firebase to build. And just like the second mission in Halo Wars 1, they will prompt us to be building, like, for an example, here's how you build a supply pad, this is how you build a generator, and you're going to want to make sure that you build both of those. Now, unlike in Halo Wars 1, we do not just get, like, reactor tech. I don't have to build just one reactor, and then boom, everything is already open to me. And it's not just supplies that are my only, like, I guess, resource. Now I have resources like supplies and power, so I have to be more conscientious of both of them, especially later on. In this video, you don't really have to worry about building too many generators because we don't really have any units other than Hellbringers that utilize power. But, I mean, in this strategy, I only built a lot of Marines, so you don't really even have to worry about building any generators. So if you want to, because I keep a generator up just because it's good habit, but you could just survive off of the power nodes that we are going to be taking. So built that generator. Pretty much as I said, their next thing they're going to say is build a barracks. But here we go. There's that barracks. And then after I think Isabel stops talking, we are able to just build whatever we want on our base, and then we're going to recycle that barracks, going to get some money back, and then also going to get some Marines pumped out. So waiting for Isabel to stop talking. Remember spamming A when I was doing this, but now that she has stopped talking, we are able to start building anything that we want on our base. Instead of building those Marines, I remembered that there is going to be a strike on our base, and we don't want those Marines to get hurt, because once we get into that little cutscene, we are not able to control anything that happens to those Marines, so they will get damaged. And rather than dealing with like half health Marines after this cutscene, I would rather just deal with my base. Notice how they hit everything, and notice how I kept everybody in their, number one, in their garrison, and if there's people outside of their garrison, if there are units outside of the garrison, I kept them away from the base entirely, so they were just sitting there alone in their own little corner of the map. Now, once that strike stops, you are able to, you should take all your units out of their garrison and then just kind of sit back and kind of group them all up together. If you want to use restoration drones, you can. I was actually going to do that once I had the chance, once I had the opportunity, and then I was going to just start pushing forward. So here's that restoration drone. Going to move all of these units. And then, so my strategy here was just move Jerome, kind of like how we were before. So Jerome here is just going to take cover in these garrisons, and then the other units, these Marines as well as the Hellbringers, will move up and also take the power node. So Jerome saw here that this first power node was safe, so I'm going to send a Marine to go take that power node. So that's what this strategy really is. It's just, especially in the very beginning of this mission, it's just get a nice group of Marines built up, and then after that, you're just going to be doing, like, while you're building those Marines, you're going to be sending Jerome here to deal with the banished forces, because if you send all your forces, you're going to be dealing with the plasma beam, and we do not want to have to deal with that plasma beam a lot. We just want to be dealing with it just a tiny bit. And we also want to make sure that we have groups microed around. So I wanted to make sure that these groups were small enough where the banished would not try to use their plasma beam, but I would still be able to do enough damage to the banished. That way I'm able to take these power nodes pretty quickly. But I think on this power node, the one with the Warthog as well as the Marine and Hellbringer group, I think this entire squad gets wiped. I should have added at least one more Marine group. I was trying to get those Hellbringers in that garrison, but the Banished were able to beat me to it. So I'm going to try to ram these Grunt squads right here. Those Grunt squads decided to micro away from my Hellbringers, so decided to just take out the Grunt squad. Gonna micro those Hellbringers back. We did take that power node though, so that is good on us. We do have the ability to use frag grenades now as well, so there is a bit of good things coming from this. The Banished are starting to reinforce their position though, so I am going to just micro all of them back. Unless I can get... Nah, I don't think this Warthog is going to make it. Actually, he should be able to make it. He'll be fine. It's just that Brute Chopper took out the rest of my forces there. Now, checking it out, looks like we lost one of the... power nodes, but that's completely fine. Sometimes that kind of crap happens. So when you see that plasma beam, I also wasn't paying attention to this plasma beam when it originally was charging up. I was trying to get everything going, but if you see a plasma beam like that, you're going to do exactly what I did there and just split your forces up. So once you split your forces up, that plasma beam will have to choose what it wants to take out, and usually it targets the Warthog. So, well, before it targets the Warthog, if Spartan Jerome is with them, it will target Jerome. So I would recommend utilizing that to your advantage, just like send Jerome out on his own. But the main point to what I was saying is that you want to split your units up. That way it doesn't do nearly as much damage as it could. Taking out those units. I'm going to try to take that power node, and while we're waiting on that, we're going to be healing our units again. There is a bonus objective to use. I think we have to do it 5 times. So, I mean, all things considered, like, that's pretty standard. Like, you're going to be doing it all the time. This mission is just trying to tell you, like, yo, you should be using your restoration drones quite often. So, especially later on in the campaign, we're going to be using it quite a bit too. And grab those Marines here. Going to send this entire squad to go take that power node. I tried to be a little, tried to be efficient with these units. Tried to do a lot more with less. But unfortunately, they were able to, like, rally and take all these power nodes. But not this time. I'm going to send all my forces up, and we're going to be taking these power nodes without any problems. Now. So, gonna try to use this Warthog. Maybe never mind. We're gonna go get some more of these Marines and get them up here. Waiting for that last power node to trying to get more units so we can take out that last power node. Gonna grab these supplies while we're waiting. Get some more Marines. But the strategy for this is fairly simple. The Marines have grenades. I don't know. Like, we could be doing the other bonus objectives utilizing Hellbringers. Hellbringers are not a bad idea for this mission. However, just having the ability to use grenades by itself is much more useful. It has more utility than, let's say, using like Hellbringers. Like right there, just being able to use a grenade and do a bunch of splash damage on those grunt squads, that is overpowered by itself. So there is a reason to take Marines rather than Hellbringers for this mission. Now, unlike the grenade ability in the first Halo Wars, this one does splash damage. So, like, if you hit Y on just an area and you have your Marines, you will be just throwing grenades at that area. You don't throw it at a specific unit per se. You could still toss it at units just like I did there, but you would be also tossing it at the area, so it does splash damage. Now, that is extremely important when you're dealing with large little clumped up groups of enemies like we did earlier on, right next to that power node, just a little bit north. Now again, just like we did before, that plasma beam queues up. We're going to split up our units, split them up even further, and see how that plasma beam has to choose where it wants to go. That is extraordinarily useful. The reason why is that, again, you saw it just waste some of its time. That is on a timer. And then we have to, once we like have it waste a little bit of that time transiting from one group to another group to try to do damage to all of our Marines, it's just not going to be efficient use of that plasma beam. So that is a very important strategy to get used to. It's a very important micro technique, especially in Halo Wars 2. If you see a plasma beam go up, you're going to want to split up your group. Now, we're going to be taking this second base really quick. Got a few brute choppers here. We have all of our Marines still having their grenade ability available, so we can use it if we want to. But we just want to kind of like be a little bit careful with that, because just in case like some banished forces decide to like charge, we want to make sure that we have our grenade ability ready. But we didn't have to deal with it, so I will get all my Marines to throw grenades at the banished base. And notice how it took out a good chunk of the banished base health. So that is going to be like another thing that is going to be super important, is that grenades against most units, and I'm just going to say most units, are extremely useful. So like against hunters when we deal with them later, against Decimus himself, very useful. Like right here against those grunts, very useful. And against bases, like against buildings, anything, Marines are really the route to go on this mission. I don't see, other than wanting the bonus objective, why you would want to use Hellringers. I mean, especially on legendary difficulty, because you don't really, like, the enemy micros very efficiently. Like as soon as they start to hit that red health bar, they go away. So you definitely want to be a little bit more you want to be on top of that. But as you saw earlier on, when you get up to this point, there's going to be another plasma beam that comes on down. You want to micro your forces away from that. It doesn't take a lot to predict that. It's a very slow beam. You can get away. You could be up here, and you could still get away. Now, many people go up the right side of the map on this one. I decided to go up the left side. The reason why is that you can garrison all your forces really, really quickly in all these little garrisons, and that is super important when we're dealing with all these forces here. That like, look at all these grunt squads. Look at all these hunters. Look at all these brute choppers. There's a lot of forces around here, and we want to make sure that we get inside of these as fast as possible. Now, unfortunately, they weren't able to get inside of that one, this last garrison, but we will be using our grenades, just like I said. When you use your grenades, those units really do take a lot of damage. Like, even hunters by themselves take a lot of damage. So you do want to make sure that you are being smart about your grenade ability, and use it quite often. Now, at this point, I was losing quite a bit of my units, so I wanted to back off and let the garrison units do their job. Gonna try to see if we can get this base set up really fast while kind of bouncing around, making sure that each of these bases are pumping out Marines. Now, when you see, I'm gonna try to take out these last bit of units in these garrisons, trying to make sure that that last Marine squad that is sitting in that garrison is doing fine. Trying to hop in, make sure that we reinforce our garrisons. But this is kind of what you want to do. You want to have your units sitting there in the garrison. That way they have a little bit more efficiency in combat. They're not going to be taking nearly as much damage, and they're still going to be dishing out the same amount of damage they normally would have been anyway. So it is extremely important to keep your units inside of a garrison whenever you get the chance. Gonna make sure that we take out these this brute chopper. Gonna micro these units away. Now we can use our grenades here to take out those garrison units. Take out that grunt squad in there. Now we want to bounce between our bases. To do that, you're going to hit left on the D-pad. That is extremely important. That's a very cool hotkey that you can use throughout the campaign, or even in skirmish matches or multiplayer, whenever you want to use them, because that will get you immediately to your base. That way you can get your macro going, just like I'm doing right now. I'm pumping out Marines out of 2 bases, and even if you could also set a rally point to where we're at currently, and you don't even have to take your attention off of what's going on here. But what I did notice, and I'm going to show you guys in a few moments, is that these Marines were being dumb and they were going up the wrong way. I wanted them to go up the left path, the way we originally took. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my rally point in the middle for both bases. That way when we go over here, they'll just come up this left path, making it much easier for us to, basically making it much safer for them to get to where we're at currently. But this mission isn't that difficult, as you're seeing right here. Just a lot of Marines, a lot of basically just knowing when to use your grenades is very, very important. And when you see those 2 fuel cells, that's pretty much a nice little key right there. Hey, maybe I should shoot those. Kind of bouncing between those 2 bases. And notice how, like, the Banish, at least in this first mission, this first like base mission, they will not attack your base very often, which is nice. Like, you don't want them to hammer a half health base, but normally, and later on in the campaign, they will definitely hammer your base early and often. But now we finally have Decimus, and he's going to be your main priority. Now, whenever you get a chance, you're just going to micro back. Unlike in Halo Wars 1, when we would basically be standing still in order for our units to fire. In this one, you can still shoot while you're on the move, so I would highly recommend doing that while you, like, whenever you get the chance to. So just like move them around, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Just keep them on the move. Now, when we are done dealing with, whenever Decimus goes into his little invincibility, trying to like kill you with that plasma beam, you're always going to be running away. As you see here, I'm doing enough damage to him. I'm just going to back off. He's going to try to drag in some more of our units, but he's going to just, again, we're doing too much damage. Our DPS is really high, and he's just going to keep trying to, like, we don't even need to use grenades, but notice how effective this is, just using Marines, using the Warthog, and then just going in. So in a few moments, I'll show you what damage we would be typically doing to him when we use grenades. So we're going to be doing that right here. We just knocked him all the way down to his final checkpoint. Once you basically kill him here, well, once you he's done with this blast, once you like, I guess once you finish him off, that's pretty much it for this mission. So final little strike here. We have all of our units, we have everybody that we need, and then we're just gonna finish him off right here. I accidentally targeted the Spirit dropship, but like, even with all those Marines, it didn't stand a chance. So again, guys, that is a new enemy. That is the second mission on Legendary difficulty without any problems. If you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys next time for Ascension. Thank you guys for watching.
His own base?
Monster, killing his own as casually as he kills us.
Decimus must be trying to hide something. Search what's left.
We found something, Captain. Uploading now. Isabel, can you decrypt this for us?
Oh, this isn't good. I'm only recovering bits and pieces of data, but it all points to a cartographer.
Cartographer? Who's that?
Not who, what. I'll debrief you when you're back on the ship. This is gonna take a lot of explaining.